And a good Thursday afternoon to you. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards forecaster. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City, Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. The big picture here at large, you can see the Tropical Storm Elsa that's inland, that is still holding tropical storm characteristics, and will take a path right across the southern easternmost parts of New England, a little bit interior in inland sections, dump out in the Gulf of Maine, and potentially even make another landfall in down east Maine and the Canadian Maritimes before it shoots like a rocket, really continuing to produce a pretty fast forward momentum there. On its right side, it will bring us strong winds. That'll be tracking with a swath basically around Delaware Bay, generally to the east of its low pressure center, its right semicircle, and that'll continue into the southeastern portions of Massachusetts. So eastern Long Island, Narraganset Bay, certainly Block Island, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, the Cape Cod region, and then all the way back into down east Maine could be under the gun for a little bit of stronger winds, and something we'll be watching. All of that takes place basically during the day tomorrow, Friday, so we'll have a good heads up on that and watch it closely for you. I don't expect the track to go further inland. I think it's pretty much established at this point, and still some pretty strong winds across coastal, southern, and eastern parts of New England. And you can see dew point temperatures here overlaid right now. We are in the 50s in northern parts of Vermont, a little bit more moist and a little bit more clammy as you get into southern parts of Vermont. And right about the Bennington area and points south, we have had some thunderstorm activity. This is fairly persistent. It's been producing some flash flooding issues down there, where locally heavy rainfall has been taking place in about the Hudson Valley region, generally east into the Berkshires, Litchfield County, Connecticut, and so forth. No real issues for us, but we are expected to anticipate about 1 to locally 3 inches of rainfall. This moisture stripped out ahead of Tropical Storm Elsa, and then during Tropical Storm Elsa, a little bit more direct threat from the moisture coming in aloft and that interacting. And so 1 to locally 3 inches are in the pipe right now. That's good news for northern areas. Central areas got to watch it. It's also fairly good news. Southern areas already have basically saturated ground, so some of that's going to lead to runoff and produce some high water. So we'll be watching that carefully with any kind of flood issues. But right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad for utilities. In fact, I'm not expecting any important impacts for utilities in Vermont. Looking at the European incrementals, we can see that a big swath of rain does move in, pretty stratiform rain at that. This is, of course, Tropical Storm Elsa. We'll be watching that track. This is valid about 2 o'clock in the morning, overnight, early Friday morning. That swath of rain associated with some of that moisture of Elsa then sweeps a little bit to the north. We get into slightly more direct effects once that passes off to the south and east. And again, you can see the direction here, and then into down east Maine. And that's going to be valid by about 8 o'clock Friday evening. Once we get into the day on Saturday, Elsa moves on out. Things begin to dry out. We have an area of higher pressure building into the region. This is all good news for what should be a dry weekend. There'll be variable amounts of clouds with a lot of moisture and high soil moistures that we have right now, and also some high clouds that will be spilling across the region from subsequent disturbances working on in the polar branch of the jet stream and whatnot once we get into the day on Sunday as well as Monday. But we are looking at dry weather continuing with this sort of very skinny ridge of higher pressure right across the region. This eventually is going to attach itself to the Bermuda High, and we're going to see that Bermuda High heat pump begin to work into the region. And that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen until we get into Tuesday, and you can see precipitation working into the region, actually Monday night into the day on Tuesday with the next flare-up of showers and thunderstorms. That'll continue beyond the period, it looks like, into Wednesday, probably as well as Thursday, and into the day on Friday. As we'll see, the main driver here is back to the Bermuda high and spreading in a lot of that moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico and then kind of crossing in from the west. And this particular pattern is one that features a lot of humidity for us. So we're going to be watching a lot of higher dew points once we get into the period probably about Tuesday and Wednesday and then beyond into next week. Looking at another busy cycle ahead here as we're looking at the GFS ensemble. And you can see Tropical Storm Elsa's moisture peaking out during the day tomorrow and subsequent precipitation. A little bit of a drying out over the weekend. And then we're back into shower and thunderstorm activity according to the GFS ensemble. All of that, the 3-hourly QPF back to the total QPF looks like this. So we're better than 1 inch amounts of rainfall and maybe even climbing closer to 2 inches by the end of the period. Weather prediction, folks, show 7-day total accumulated precipitation, and we're better here than this would be 1 inch. That's about 1.5. That's 2 inches. So running about 2 inches in general, and locally maybe as much as 3 inches in the southern part of the state. And with the climate reanalyzer, we can see here that it's pretty cool, actually below normal temperatures. Everywhere from basically the central and eastern part of North America. Those coolish temperatures have nowhere to go but upward, and we're going to see this incrementally rise. A couple dips, but overall, we're headed back into the 70s, knocking on the door of 80 degrees eventually. And we're also looking at a dew point temperature rise once we get into that Elsa's moisture, then a dip in the dew point temperatures, and then a slow climb is indicated. With daily shower and thunderstorm activity developing approximately a Tuesday on, and looking at the capes, kind of a good indicator of where that shower and thunderstorm activity will become more evident here with convective available potential energy peaking out with stronger levels of instability once we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Since we are starting out a little bit on the cool side, what you can see here is temperatures running about 12 degrees below normal in the upper mid-Mississippi Valley region, and that coolness kind of extends across a good portion. We're going to be moderating our temperature upward, so neutral conditions, and some of that is going to come through Canada basically. But we do warm up. Take a look at this about 3 days later. We're going to be running about 3 to 6 degrees above normal. That's 3 to 7 days ahead. And the latest out of the National Hurricane Center shows this line here, and you can see how that cuts right across extreme southeastern Massachusetts. Anything to the right of that line is going to be seeing some wind issues, where wind gusts could be near tropical storm force, maybe even try to approach hurricane force in a few spots in some of those gusts. Then it shoots basically into the Canadian Maritimes, and it's pretty much out of here. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.